You think your hero, William Joseph Lescotch?
Machine Games made a Nazi-infested statement with The New Order, its reboot of the classic Wolfenstein series in 2014, with a well-characterized BJ Blazkowicz and retooled modern shooting that made killing Nazis as fun as it's ever been. With Wolfenstein II: The New Colossus, the series jumps even further with its fast-paced gameplay and provides a satisfying journey through its fascinating retro-futuristic view of America. While its story doesn't break ground and has some tonal conflicts, it propels the memorable cast of characters into more audacious Nazi-killing scenarios, and the gameplay provides enough fun to take the series to the heights of The New Order.
Just remember, my boy, it will end better than it began.
Wolfenstein's premise has an inherent dystopian aura. Having won World War II, Nazis control America and harshly enforce their rules, in turn oppressing the country and killing uncountable numbers of its citizens. Painting this bleak picture of an alternate America, Wolfenstein II could have easily spent its time wallowing and creating a dark and depressing narrative. Instead, it opens with BJ, legs immobile, steamrolling through an army of Nazis with one hand on a gun and the other navigating the wheels of his wheelchair. It's evident from this point on that the story has decided to lean into the fun of killing thousands of Nazis instead of lingering on the what-if scenario. That's not to say there are no serious moments. One specific scene has BJ reminiscing on his childhood and remembering the abuse he suffered at the hands of his racist father. Moments like these are emotional and powerful, but some of these, especially ones immediately juxtaposed with more lighthearted and energetic moments, felt out of place. Both of the tones are felt, but it isn't without a bit of whiplash as we quickly transition between the two. The most impressive aspect of the story, however, is how it tees up the supporting characters, who are the real stars. The characters are varied and well written, and it was always enjoyable to watch them deal with their conflicts in their own unique ways. Grace Walker is a standout, providing for some hilarious banter with some other Resistance members while leading the group's journey from the base. Horton Boone, another Resistance member, is not only funny, but he facilitates one of the game's most memorable scenes, a drunken conversation between BJ and himself as traditional New Orleans jazz plays in the background, and Nazis attempt to infiltrate their base. Moments like these make us forget about the doomed world outside and love the people that are there, even if it's difficult to know their motivations. Pretty much every character has their own standout moments, and as a group, this is a remarkable supporting cast. Additionally, Irene Engel, a general in the Nazi camp who steps in as the villain, might be the most impressive character. As Hitler makes just a brief appearance, she is to hold the weight of a strong antagonist, and she does so in spades. Making a Nazi villain feel evil is never a difficult feat, yet General Engel is as unflinchingly evil as villains get from the opening moments of the game. She will and often does torture and kill with a smile on her face. Her acting and writing are superb, making her one of the most detestable and ultimately memorable villains in recent memory. As a Wolfenstein game, the Nazi-infested world is a character in itself. Machine Games has crafted gorgeous environments from Manhattan to New Orleans to Albuquerque, and character models are stunningly vivid, especially during cutscenes. The game ran smoothly and rarely dropped its frame rate, making it smooth and immersive. The environments truly shine when they are bright and colorful, as these are the times that portray the clearest image of this Nazi-controlled world. In this world, BJ is a villain, a nationally wanted criminal who has committed mass murder and whose face is plastered largely on billboards and street corners until he's found. Images like this really turn the perspective on its head. We know that BJ is the hero, but he will be shot if he's spotted on the streets. These are the moments that allow the nature of this world to shine through, where you get to experience how the people living in this world experience their day-to-day lives. In a very Wolfenstein way, they're the most heartbreaking, showing families torn apart with the false notion of freedom or safety. It's a shame that there are only a handful of these throughout the game and that there aren't many action sequences in them. Seeing their deterioration would have been particularly interesting, but instead the action is left to the war zones.
You want to strike fear in the Nazis? You want to hit them hard for all to see? You want to cause some real motherfucking havoc? Well, then you come to the right woman. So if you still got some Nazi fighting, killing skills up in you, then guess what?
While at its core, the gameplay in the new Colossus is relatively unchanged from the New Order, Wolfenstein II's gameplay is satisfying and varied enough to stay fresh throughout its 10 to 12 hour runtime. There are all of the standard guns, and there are some standout special weapons, such as the laser shooter and grenade launcher types, that make for some of the most memorable gameplay moments. In particular, the laser shooter is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, and seeing enemies disintegrate after a few beams makes you feel incredibly powerful and always put a smile on my face. Some of the guns, especially automatic rifles, were less satisfying to use as they were not tight enough in their aiming to match the shotgun, which was the most reliable. Numerous times I pulled out my rifle to shoot at a distant enemy before I realized that I could more efficiently sprint up and use my shotgun or hatchet. These moments, though, are where the gameplay feels fastest and most fluid. id Software's most recent Doom has clear influences on the speed and gunplay, and there are many ways to go about killing wave after wave of Nazis, many of them impressively gory. BJ's Super Soldier's strength allows him to dual-wield virtually any weapon in the game, a fun and over-the-top way to give him the power to kill hordes of Nazis. Putting a shotgun in either hand and mowing down soldiers is always fun, though the interface that allows for dual-wielding is clunky, which caused a few too many deaths as I tried and failed to switch guns. The most impressive weapon in the game is the hatchet, which allows for Wolfenstein's version of Doom's glory kill system. BJ can kill almost any enemy, regardless of armor level, with the hatchet, and the varied animations never seem to get old. I never got tired of dismembering enemies with the hatchet, even if it was the most reliable and most common way to kill enemies throughout the game. That's not to say that Wolfenstein II is easy. In fact, it turns out to be noticeably difficult in numerous places. Some of the later Gauntlet areas were frustrating and more difficult, feeling like more of a test of will than skill. Ramping up the difficulty was usually a matter of more rather than better enemies, which, while acceptable in most moderate scenarios, becomes somewhat infuriating by the end. In continuation with the New Order, Wolfenstein II offers multiple paths through virtually every mission, which allows a choice between full stealth and non-stop action. The stealth opportunities are the only true misstep in the gameplay. While the action options are always fun, the stealth paths are underwhelming. The point at which enemies notice you is unpredictable, and whenever an enemy notices you, the entire war zone is alerted. It is consistently discouraging to attempt any kind of stealthy run because there's no benefit. Going in guns blazing is equally as effective and significantly more fun, and any kind of stealth feels forced because that's not where this game's strengths lie.
I've been a lawyer a long fucking time, and I know a motherfucking conspiracy when I see one!
Building off its predecessor, Wolfenstein II creates an interesting world and an incredibly well-written and varied cast that complement a satisfying gameplay loop. By not taking itself particularly seriously, the story finds a way to be occasionally touching in the midst of its craziness, and traversing the world, especially in the few moments of city life in Nazi-controlled America, is a fascinating window into an alternate reality. Despite some tonal conflicts and a disappointing stealth option, Wolfenstein 2 is a rewarding package that injects even more fun and intrigue into its Nazi-infested world, which is why I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10.
So what's it gonna be? You hillbilly, degenerate moonshiner, Bolshevik cowards, goddamn traitors.